Welcome to the MedicAlert Matters Podcast, the Peterborough edition. Peterborough is a vibrant city, rich in history, fueled by community spirit, and home to people who truly care. Joining me are three local changemakers. Jayne Culbert, former coordinator at Age Friendly Peterborough. Lois Tuffin, founder of Volunteer Peterborough. And Danielle Turpin, founder and executive director of Home Care Workers Cooperative. In this special episode, we shine a light on individuals and initiatives driving care and connection in the region.
MedicAlert Emergency, how may I help you?
I'm a paramedic with BC Ambulance Service. We've run into a patient who has one of the bracelets.
And she's walking, but she's not feeling particularly well, and she showed me her bracelet. So I think we might need a little bit of help.
Did you find her?
Yes, we did.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Jayne, welcome to the MedicAlert Matters Podcast. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you, Peter, for having me.
Oh, no, thank you. And I want to ask you about your retirement because you just recently retired. Tell me how that feels right now because it's just recent, right? Like
Last week. Yes.
last week, yes.
Yes. So I'm still tying up some projects here with Age Friendly Peterborough and in the process of moving. So it hasn't quite hit me yet.
Okay. It will soon, though.
It will.
Wait, how long have you been with Age Friendly Peterborough, though?
6 years.
6 years. Oh, okay. Now, can you let our audience know what Age Friendly Peterborough does and what made you want to be a part of it?
Age Friendly Peterborough is a collaborative of very passionate individuals, so who are older adults or representatives that support seniors. And being part of a collaborative, so people aren't working in silos. With Age Friendly Peterborough, we work together. And I think that vision of action for aging well really supports local seniors. And Age Friendly Peterborough represents organizations and seniors in Peterborough City, County, which are the 8 townships, and Curve Lake and Hiawatha First Nations. So that's what brought me to Peterborough. It was that passion and that community-oriented concept. The Age Friendly Plan started in 2017 and I started in 2019. So I was able to see all of the great actions that happened in the greater Peterborough area.
Yes. And it was such a pleasure meeting you at the Activity Haven event, I believe. The first.
That's right. The
Yeah.
Active Living Fair.
Yes. And then I noticed when you were walking around, it's like it's amazing how you are with all the different vendors and organizations, and you make sure to get everyone involved. I don't know if that's something
That's
natural
it.
to you, but you were very great at doing that.
That's what Age Friendly Peterborough is. So even we have people who are, we call a part of the network. So
Mhm.
people who are either on our advisory committee, working groups, task force, or community of practice. So they're directly involved with Age Friendly Peterborough. But then there's people who are working independently on age friendly projects or supporting seniors. So we want to still make sure that they're being represented as part of the collaborative.
Amazing, amazing. And the community, I love the community in Peterborough. And it was my first chance to meet everyone at that event. But then I
Mhm.
also went to the event where I saw you at the big event.
The
What was that?
showcase, the senior
Yes.
showcase.
Oh,
It's
that
an annual in June.
yes, that you told me about. And it was amazing, just like you were saying, that it would be. So
Yes, we had over
yeah.
1,000 people
Yeah.
who older adults who attended that event. There are more than 100 vendors that come out, and then we did 12 workshops that were very well attended as well.
Great. You know, one thing that I want to touch on because you said 2017, and
Yes.
then you're getting your wheels turning now. How did COVID affect the organization and the planning at that time? Do you remember that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It did because we are like an umbrella organization. And so I get communication from lots of different organizations, but I'm the one who filters it, puts it all together, and then sends it back out.
Mhm.
So worked very closely with public health during COVID, and we have an e-news letter that people receive about usually about once a month. But during COVID, it was sometimes every day, every
Mm.
second day, because the information that was changing. And people told me afterwards they would look for those emails because they knew they were going to get information that they needed.
Mhm.
Another example of when that worked well, that email and that communication concept, was recently during the ice storm.
Yes.
Peterborough was hurt was it was affected Peterborough residents greatly, and some people were without power for over a week.
Mhm.
So I was sending out regular, that was daily correspondence from, where can you go to a warming center, et cetera. So that's the role of Age Friendly Peterborough, is connecting people to programs and services and connecting organizations.
Yeah, that time was when I because we just started our work in Peterborough, and when that ice storm hit, our concern as an organization, MedicAlert, we were like, we have to pump the brakes on this, and we have to see how everyone's doing. So we did our reach out because, I personally know people that were affected too,
Hmm.
and then all the organizations that we were partnering with and talking to. So I want to make sure everything was okay. But I think
Hmm.
that's when seniors need you the most and need help the most too.
Yes. And the other thing too is it's good to learn from each other.
Mhm.
So we have, it's funny because we just started the senior safety roundtable. So
Yes.
that's a community of practice of organizations who support senior safety. And we had a meeting scheduled during, which was turned out to be during the ice storm. So all those organizations were busy. They were boots on the ground and working. So we had to cancel that meeting. But we did meet in June. And at that meeting, we were able to share best practices. So that's also an important part to emergency management. So something happened. So whether that's a pandemic, an ice storm, or we've had heat emergencies. So what are we doing? What innovative solutions are happening within the community, and how can we replicate that and grow that within the other organizations?
Yeah. And the round table included, is it like healthcare, first responders, and the different
Yes,
community partners around, right?
that's right. So
Yeah.
everything from, the hospital, emergency management, so police, fire, it's a very large um, group who are
Mhm.
supporting senior safety.
Yeah, I like that connection too, because everyone plays their role, even when it comes to emergency response and things like that. So,
Right. The
yeah.
other thing too is and it's too bad we didn't have the senior safety roundtable meeting before, because that's where the connections were made. Business cards are shared. People understand what services that others provide. So when an emergency happens, they're already referring people to who needs help and who can help them. So that's where what we are working towards. So in 2025 and 2026, there will be a stronger network.
Okay. You mentioned it sounds like you weren't born and raised in the Peterborough area. Where were you born and raised then?
In Etobicoke, and then moved to Mississauga. So I spent a lot of time, and I worked in Mississauga for a long time.
Okay. And was it always in this type of industry too? Seniors?
I started out in recreation,
Mhm.
and then in in community development.
Mhm.
So I did support the seniors action plan in Mississauga.
Mhm.
And then I went to Kingston for a little bit and worked for the city in Queens, and then went back to Mississauga as the Peel Elder Abuse Prevention
Oh,
manager. Hmm.
oh, nice. You've done some good work, Jayne. You've done some good work.
I am very proud of my career, and I have heard that I have inspired and helped a lot of people along the way. So
Mhm.
thank you for recognizing that.
Oh, of course, of course. And you know what is amazing too? The anytime I talk to someone in Peterborough and I drop your name or I drop Lois Tuff, like everyone knows each other. It's a small community, I think, but it's amazing how everyone knows each other and your role that you play.
Yes, and that's why bringing people together. Now, and you mentioned about COVID, and we still met virtually. So
Mhm.
sometimes that can be easier, but it's also good, especially when you're forming a new group, that people meet face to face.
Yeah.
And so when we started the senior safety roundtable, we met in June, and it was people have seen each other virtually for years, but have never actually met.
Yeah.
So I think that builds relationships, and that's what we do. We have a couple of times that the Age Friendly Network meets. They come together. We had one called Making Impact
Mhm.
in June. And then we have one called Working Together in December. So that's where we're able to share what organizations are doing to become more age friendly,
Mhm.
and learn from each other and have networking opportunities.
Yeah. So you touched on a lot here too, because one of my main questions is how has the organization evolved to meet the changing needs of people in the Peterborough area? But I think you touched on a lot of it. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of it has to do with communication and building those relationships. But is there anything else on top of that? Has it changed over your
Well,
6 years?
that plan that I mentioned that was introduced in 2017.
Mhm.
In 2022, we did an evaluation of that plan. And because COVID happened so some actions that were listed in the plan weren't able to be followed through. So we met with everybody who had an action in the plan, and we said what was done. So we highlighted those successes and what's needs to be carried over.
Mhm.
So we did community as well as stakeholder engagement. And then from those results, we created a new community action plan, and that's from 2023 to 2027.
Mhm.
And that's where we provide the framework for organizations to say, this is what we need to do in order to become more age friendly. This is what the community has told us. So how can we work together to support that plan? So that I think is really the foundation of Age Friendly Peterborough and the organizations that support us, and we support them.
Yes. So that sounds like you covered. I had a question about looking forward, and that covered my question. So what I have to ask you now is, how do you think Medical Alert can fit in and strengthen age-friendly Peterborough, the people in the community?
I think that again, everything is a two-way communication, and when we work with or partner or introduce a new organization, like you and I have just recently
Yeah.
built a relationship,
Hmm.
so we Age Friendly Peterborough can communicate to organizations about what you do, and in that way, that's a ripple effect,
Hmm.
because then they're communicating to their clients the advantage of using the Medical Alert tools. And then another way is we have direct contact with the community and older adults. We have that e-news that goes out once a month. So in order to get the word out about what Medical Alert does, and you're still around. I
Right.
think that, we think back to, well, I think back to my youth, and I think of those silver bracelets. My
Yeah.
cousin had one because she's allergic to penicillin, but it seemed to not be as popular for a while. So we need to let people know not only that program still exists, but also there's additional support that can be provided by MedicAlert, such as with the vulnerable population. And I think that through the e-news, as well as inviting you to fairs so that people can learn and speak to you directly. That's what
Right.
we like to do. So I think that's how we incorporate you into the age-friendly network.
Yes. Thank you. And you've been great at that too. Can you tell me how was it the NORC, N-O-R-C?
Yes,
Yeah, you had a meeting and we provided the digital brochure for you. How did that go? Can
that's
you
right.
explain what it is too?
Yes, sure. So NORCs are naturally occurring retirement communities.
Hmm.
They are apartments or condos where majority of the people who live there are over the age 65.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily designated as a seniors building. It can just be a apartment building, but yet most of the people who live there are seniors.
Hmm.
And we receive funding from the Ministry for Seniors and Accessibility to work on a NORC ambassador program. So we identified 9 pilot locations. We recruited people, residents who lived in the building, to plan activities, workshops, events for the residents who live there. And one of the things, the tools that we created as part of that NORC project was a welcome bag. So anyone new moving into the building, they would get a bag full of resources. And it could be they may have had a workshop at the NORC prior to the person moving in, and there were resources provided. Or we asked any of our organizations if they would like to provide information to go into that bag. And that's where you graciously did
Yes.
so.
Yes. And thanks for sharing that. Um, One thing I do gotta ask you though is, are you gonna stay on in some capacity, advisory? Are you gonna do anything? Because your knowledge is needed. And I hear a lot of seniors don't like to keep still and just and because you have the volunteer Peterborough too, where people got to get out. But are you gonna
Yes.
volunteer or stay connected?
I will definitely stay connected with Age Friendly Peterborough. My replacement will not be hired until the fall.
Okay.
So I'm working with Chris in making sure that there's a good transition,
Mhm.
and also training the new person. And so I'm still involved in the Peterborough community. My hope is that Peterborough has become a best practice
Mhm.
in like provincially and even nationally. And so I'd love to share what the success of our model so that other municipalities and age-friendly organizations may be able to replicate some of the things that we do. So that's what I know um, it's retirement. It's retirement from a long career of municipal government, but I still want to help out and build age-friendly communities.
Yes. It's in your nature. It's in
It
your
is.
nature.
It is. It started because my grandmother raised me,
Oh,
and meaning that she lived
right.
with us,
Mhm.
and both my parents worked. So I grandma was my best friend, and in the summer she would take us to her friend's house.
Mhm.
So they were seniors, and I was became a senior wannabe at age
Yeah.
5. And throughout my whole life, seniors just have a very special place in my heart. And so I feel honored to be able to work and support seniors.
Amazing. You're bringing a tear to my eye. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. Okay, Jayne, this has been great. Great podcast, great information. I have one more question here,
Okay.
but it's on you. You're gonna ask me to read out my left hand, or my right hand?
You're right.
All right. What's a challenge? I always get this one wrong. What's a challenge that tested you in this work, and what helped you push through it?
Hmm, a challenge. I would say that meeting the needs of the community is a challenge because if you don't do community engagement and you just offer programs and services, then it may not be what the community needs.
Mhm.
So by understanding, like for example, we have rural in the greater Peterborough area, we have rural seniors. We have First Nations and Indigenous seniors. We have LGBT plus seniors. And so by um, understanding that each senior is unique in their needs and people are more vulnerable when they have some challenges.
Mhm.
So we need to be aware of all of those challenges and all of those needs and be able to pull it all together in order to best support individuals as well as a whole community.
Wow. Well said. Well said. And that's what I'm learning too, going out to the events. I can share as much information as I want about MedicAlert. We're the ID service, but we have the database attached to it with all your information. And I can give them that. But I've heard after going to 150 events, I'm hearing what they want. It could be, and hearing their needs and their
Right,
challenges. And I hear cost is a big thing with a lot of
right.
seniors too. They may be on a fixed income. And I'm hearing a lot of people wanting a certain style of ID. I'm hearing, do you have programs for certain conditions? Because we have the dementia program and the autism program,
Yes.
but then they ask about different things too. So that need is, you got to really get that carefully and then plan and build it out from there, on how to execute. But yeah.
And it's I think it's important that community engagement and that you do that in a variety of different ways in a variety of different places.
Hmm.
Because if you go to just a fair, for example, you're going to reach people who are attend those types of fairs.
Yeah.
We also have a program called Senior Connectors, where we've trained people and they are at kiosks in the community. So it may be at a mall or a farmer's market. So maybe it's in a different place that people may go.
Right.
So we have the Ask Me, there's a table set up which has resources on it and they can ask any question. And then it's having a website. So because there are some people that don't use the website, but many do. So it's reaching out, having things in print because maybe they don't need the information now, but
Hmm.
maybe they will need it 6 months from now.
Right.
So by having something in print, they have it in a file. When they need it, they can refer back to that in print document. So when we communicate with people, when we hear what their needs are, we're incorporating that
Hmm.
and then being able to communicate that information back.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say. Thanks for sharing that. Um, I'm so impressed when seniors come to our table and they have a cell phone and they know how to use it. Because my dad doesn't have one. He's 92.
Mine doesn't either.
Yeah, my mom has one. She's 90, but a basic one. But it's so nice to see how they're up with technology. And I'm like, do you have an email address? And then they tell me their email address. It's amazing because I can't see myself knowing these new things, new inventions, new technology when I'm older. So I'm proud when I see that, from the seniors.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we really do help support. So there may be somebody who doesn't have the technology, but we'll help them say, pick out the right tool for them.
Yeah.
The QR codes might
Mhm.
be there. That's very helpful, but they don't know how to use them. So we have organizations that are part of Age Friendly Peterborough who do that and who help people with technology if they wish to use it.
Amazing. Okay. That was great. Jayne, let people know where they could find Age Friendly Peterborough. So if there's a website, the social media before we sign off.
Sure. It's so through the city of Peterborough, so www.peterborough.ca/aging. That brings you to the Age Friendly Peterborough website. There's a place on there where you can contact us. So you just click the button and it opens up to the email. There's also a Peterborough Senior Service directory on that website, and we are on Facebook and X.
Perfect. Thank you, Jayne, for taking the time today.
Oh, it was great to talk to you, Peter. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care. Good morning, Lois. Welcome to the MedicAlert Matters podcast. How are you doing today?
Great. Good morning. It's so great to get a chance to chat with you today. There's so many exciting things happening we can talk about.
Let's start at the heart of what you do. What does Volunteer Peterborough focus on, and what made you want to be a part of it?
So Volunteer Peterborough arose from a couple of events that happened simultaneously. So in May 2022, we had a visit here from Jagmeet Singh, who was the federal NDP leader at the time. He was campaigning for someone running on a provincial election. And we made the top of the news cycle because people yelled horrible things at him and threatened him. And there was a group of us that were just mortified, well, a large group of us. And then a few days later, we ran something called Porch Pirates Food Drive, where we dress up like pirates and we stole food that was donated from people's porches. And we had hundreds of people involved. We gathered 54,000 pounds of food. So a group of us started to think about why these horrible event and a wonderful event could happen in the same city at the same time. And we came to the conclusion that if you give people an outlet of place where they can help and they can see a path forward, they will choose to do something good, necessarily as compared to something that is not great. So we decided, how can we create an outlet for people to do this thing? So we started to talk about how hard it was to volunteer. After COVID, volunteer managers were no longer in their roles. People were worried about going to public places. Volunteer infrastructure had collapsed. So we decided to rebuild. And there's a huge appetite for that. And that is what has fueled our growth, really. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes, we had a brief conversation a few months ago, and I remember you sharing that story. So thanks for sharing that today.
Mhm.
Um, Let me know because communication is changing. How we communicate with people, how
Yes.
we share and receive information. How is
Yes.
Volunteer Peterborough evolve to meet the changing needs of the people in the Peterborough area?
Yes. Once upon a time, there was another volunteer Peterborough where people went in and filled out paper forms and somebody matched them with things. And then it became part of our United Way and it became kind of a side um, part of their business and they were unable to sustain it. So that's we've had a few iterations. Right now, we understand that people, before they want to commit to something, they want to know a lot. They want to make sure that they're going to be successful. We are in a culture of low failure
Mhm.
and and high social anxiety. For example, Peter, when was the last time you actually phoned somebody and didn't text them first and they answered?
Exactly. Hmm.
People don't want to do that. So before
Exactly.
someone volunteers, they want to know, is this organization aligned with my values? Is it going to match my schedule? And they won't cold call and ask those questions. So we work really hard to gather that information from the charities beforehand so that then it's all laid out and people can go look at, okay, is this going to work for me? Am I going to be able to do this? Do I have the skills that they need? And we try to put it in a central place. Well, we do put it in a central place so that people don't have to go look at the hospital and see what jobs are available and go look at community care or the Humane Society or the food bank. So we put it all in one place and you can filter it by what you're interested in and what your skills are. And people want to discover new places. For example, people think the Humane Society.
Hmm.
We have like 18 animal sanctuaries in this area that also need help, that are invisible. So we're able to shine the spotlight so people can find something closer to them because not everyone drives.
Right.
Or they're in a small town and they want to do something close to where they are. So we've been trying to recognize that that's how people function now. We ran a training last week about youth volunteers, which was so insightful. that youth volunteers are so dependent on their parents driving them places or parents worried about their safety that everything has to run through a parent, even if a volunteer teenager was like, I want to do this for my hours. So one of our panelists used the expression, you can lead a teen to a cell phone, but you can't make them click.
Yeah.
And that cracked me up because it is so true. It's like, Mom, I was going to say yes to this, but you know, whatever. So
Yeah.
we recognize that all the way people talk to each other and interact with each other has evolved, and we are trying our best to coach people through it and provide the resources so that it works better for them.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how everything's evolved in a way that now you can match people with what they want and vice versa, the organization to the
Mhm.
volunteer and vice versa. Because it feels like in the beginning when you volunteered, like, I might be aging myself, but I'm 51 now. But it seemed like volunteer, if you want to volunteer, you just go into an organization. Hey, you're looking for help. You want to do it
Yeah.
part-time, you want to do it for your hours. But it's so amazing how now you can just get down to the meat of everything. You can see the skills of someone and you can see
Mhm.
where it's needed. So that's kind of cool. I like that.
We do run in-person events as well. We had an in-person event, Meet Your Match volunteer fair in early May, and we had 600 people turn out,
Oh,
but a lot of them had done their homework before they came.
oh
And they
yes.
flooded this mall, and we had 34 charities there, and it was like we started at 12:30. The first guy showed up at 11.
Yeah.
But there was fantastic matches, like people that, once they'd kind of narrowed their list, they went right to a booth and said, I've scoped you out and I think you're my match. So it was like speed dating.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes.
It's just still on this topic. It's, because I aged myself before, but again, you have to keep up with so many different things
Mhm.
to make sure you're fitting into the youth part of it and also the aging population. When it comes to computers, a lot of people don't go on the internet and computers,
Yes.
they don't know how to use it. So anything where you can help out too.
Yeah, so we also do Wednesday afternoon drop-ins for people, and it's been remarkably well engaged. People show up and just say, just tell me, this is who
Yeah.
I am. This is what just tell me where to go.
Yes,
And
yes.
so you're like, okay, well, we kind of want to leave it up to you, but it looks like, but there are questions that people hadn't even considered.
Hmm.
And they think, well, I have done this. I'm like, well, you have done that, but you don't have to do that. You can try something new. And even people that don't want to leave their house or have become immobile, right? They're in a walker. It's really hard for them to get places. You find out they can do friendly phone visiting. They're like, I can talk on the phone.
Yeah, that's
And we've seen
amazing.
some real friendships grow out of programs like that. Yeah, Telecare is a phenomenal organization here, and Community Care has friendly phoning. So if people think, well, I can't volunteer because of this reason, there's quite a good possibility you can work around that.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that. Just a personal question. Did you volunteer when you were younger growing up?
Didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Yes. So my mother was a Canadian Cancer Society canvasser, but when you have 7 kids, why not outsource?
Yeah.
So I ended up on my bicycle going door to door to the neighbors, and the neighbors knew. I mean, it's Canadian Cancer Society, right? So
Mhm.
it's a good cause, and we would go, we would ask for a donation, and then the neighbors would give us cookies. So guess what? Very good association with volunteering.
Mhm.
Yeah, but we were always doing things, helping out people in the neighborhood or getting involved, and I don't even know what. I've been doing it for so long, it's hard for me to even figure out when it became my own. So
Yeah. Okay. So you work with many volunteers
I do.
that support the vulnerable community. How do you think MedicAlert fits in with your organization?
Well, that's a good question. Because I think we're all trying to communicate, right? And take care of people and make sure that everybody has the resources that they need to thrive. To me, it's all about health.
Mhm.
It's about making sure that if people need help, they can find help. If they can find their community and take care of each other, that's a phenomenal thing for
Yeah.
for us all to just be aware of what other people need and to reach out and help them.
Yeah. And on MedicAlert, when I was a kid, I remember seeing a little boy with a bracelet on. And that's when
Ah,
I first knew about MedicAlert. And then you fast forward when I first applied, I'm like, oh, this is the company that, I know about, but not really know about because some people think of us as just the ID when we have the
hmm
database attached to your file, your medical profile. When
aha.
you were younger, did you know about MedicAlert or did you see any kids with the bracelet or?
I did see a couple of kids, but I don't think the program was as robust as it was.
Okay.
And maybe
Yeah.
it was behind the scenes, but I guess into the digital age, it's a lot easier to figure out
Yes. Of
what's what.
course. Of course. And it grew over time too. Um, you know what's funny? In America, they have a lot of stars that were subscribers, like Carol Burnett. There's a few of them
Oh,
that used to promote Medical Alert back in the days.
oh, I'm
But
trying
yeah.
to remember all that. But it's and you talk about a database. I mean, you guys are gathering information about what people need and have. Our database is we have well, right now we have I checked last night, 1,837 volunteers that have entrusted us with their information. This is what I want. This is what I need. So for
Oh,
a city of 84,000, it's a start.
that's amazing. And just because of my knowledge of the area, Peterborough, who else can apply for volunteer Peterborough? Is it that surrounding areas? Can you just give
Yeah.
the
Yes.
the
So
range?
the geography lesson. So
Right.
city of Peterborough, 84,000 people in the middle of the county. And then there's a Peterborough County all around it has another 84,000 people.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of towns in there, Lakefield, Norwood, Havelock, Millbrook, all them around. But there we cover the entire county. So there's lots of opportunities for people to volunteer in those communities as well. And we encourage the smaller charities in those towns to also align because we want to serve everybody. And so, I mean, if you live 5 minutes outside of Peterborough or 5 minutes outside of Lakefield, it's not that far. We do have people that are like, well, why? What? I'm from Havelock. I can't. I mean, I can't. So
Hmm.
we ran a volunteer fair with the Havelock Township in April. Yeah, so we try to team up and just encourage people. We were going to do it, and they said we got it, and I said, great, we'll just show up and cheer you on. We're more of a collaboration than anything. We have a lot of great partners that help us do what we do because we're all in this together. We all want volunteers to get engaged and to volunteer in more than one place. That's what we found. We had people show up and said, I volunteer one place, but I need two or three more because I'm bored.
Wow.
I just retired and I'm healthy and I have the energy and I have skills. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Stay active, get out there and it's the mind too. You don't want your mind to be at that state where you're not doing anything. You want to keep active and keep going.
And volunteering, it does. There's this study after study that talks about how that you're better socialized, your brain works better, you're
Mm.
learning all the time.
Yeah.
You're physically more active because you've gotten off the couch and you've gone out and you're moving boxes or you're walking around and talking to people. It's a huge factor of keeping people healthy in their older years. Because
Hmm.
it is easy to go home, sit on your couch, get on a computer, feel isolated. And like social isolation is so devastating. It is
Yeah.
I mean, we had a study that said that sitting alone in your house and not, doing nothing is worse for you than smoking, than obesity, and then breathing polluted air. Like, yeah, just it's so easy to get up out of your chair, find something that makes you laugh, makes you passionate, makes you, get those creative juices flowing again, problem solving, driving people around, talking to them about their day.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That
such a
inter
simple formula.
that interaction is very important too, right? So that interaction with other people and
Hmm.
communicating, very important. I see, because I see it too. Even in my personal life, I see people that live alone.
Yeah.
And doing my outreach with MedicAlert, you hear conversations from some of the seniors. I live alone, and I know I have to get out there and keep my mind active. Some of the events that we attend for MedicAlert, like when we went to Peterborough, we see some of the same people at the events. So they're
Yes.
just coming to get out, right? So they know the information already, but it's nice to talk to the vendors and talk to the community.
Yeah. So you were at the age-friendly Peterborough event. Was that the
Yes.
one? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great network of people that And they were a champion. They were aboard immediately when we started. They'd actually started an emergency, what do you call it, emergency task force, emergency volunteer task force to try to deal with this. And then we came along, so we teamed up. But there's so many groups that are trying to encourage people who are older, just use these resources. There's so many resources out there. What we found fascinating is with community care, for example, they have this friendly calling or this friendly visiting program, and the people that volunteer thought, I'm going to help the senior. It'll be good for them. But it has turned out to be so good for them. They've
Hmm.
made new friends. They've met their person's families. Next thing you know, they're going to birthday parties, and their community has expanded
Hmm.
to beyond this tiny circle. Because face it, during COVID lockdowns, everybody's world got smaller.
Oh yeah, that was bad. That was bad for the people.
It
Yeah.
was.
Hmm.
And now people are, there's more, there's less comfort of just walking across a room and talking to somebody or going out. We still have, I talk to people that I will not go to a concert or a big event, which is really something I hope people start to get over because
Yeah,
another
yeah.
great thing for your health is to get out and laugh and dance and enjoy a good show of some kind.
Of course. COVID put a lot of fear in people too, and I understand it in a lot of cases if you have medical history, medical background where you're scared to go out there and communicate and have that face to face. But it is important. It is important to still try and get over that and get out there. But yeah.
Yeah, and we see it for young people who were at homeschooled basically for however many months,
Yeah.
and those are formative skills and formative years that they they just don't understand
Yeah.
how they can just go ahead and be independent even and how to interact with people of different ages and go outside their circle.
Hmm.
Part of their brain got rewired, and we're trying to get them to think beyond because we see these young people come to our volunteer fairs, but their mom's dragging them.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
literally, get in here, come over here and talk. And but even for them to walk up to a table and have a conversation with someone that they don't know about, well, I've come to this volunteer fair and now I'm going to ask you questions. It's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope the community gets over it. I hope the younger people grew out of it. Says if you miss that, I guess that mark. So there's a
Mhm.
lot of high schoolers that got affected. They missed their grads and things like that,
Mhm.
and they were doing homeschooling. But a lot of the younger people, I think they have time to overcome that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have peer pressure is going to be the answer. If
Hmm.
one kid starts volunteering and then brings a friend, because that's how a lot of volunteering works. People
Ah, yes.
like with service clubs used to be, hey, I'm working at the GE plant, and I joined the service club. Why don't you? And they're talking about the lunchroom, and then they bring their friends along, and they built it. So that's something we are also trying to do. Is well, you're having a good time. Do you have a friend that's also kind of interested in this task, that task?
Hmm.
And we find it's interesting even by gender. So men, for example, want to do something that they're comfortable with or they have done before.
Hmm.
Tools, barbecuing, driving. Those are the top things.
Yeah.
Easy to recruit men to do. Whereas women are more willing to go, well, I've never done that, but I'll try swinging a hammer or, you know, do,
Yeah.
doing whatever, working with your llamas out at your animal rescue. And so it's fascinating how the mind plays these games of filtering what I can or cannot do or what I'm willing to try or not. But, we just gotta build a little comfort level around each thing as we go.
Yeah. I love the way you communicate and get your point across. Were you always this um extroverted in a way and a good communicator? Because I believe you're also a writer. So let's just dive into that just for a minute before I get to my last question. Tell
That's
me like the history of your education and what you were doing prior to
so
this.
I've always been a storyteller.
Hmm.
When I was a little kid, I used to write and tell stories to my sisters for their birthdays. That was didn't have a lot of spending money.
Hmm.
So yeah, I went into journalism school and I've always been interested in community journalism. Like my classmates were like, I want to go work at the Toronto Star, I want to go work at CBC. And I said, I'm going home to work at the Alma Gazette because I love being embedded and involved. So when I was a journalist, I also became involved in local causes, youth drop-in centers, emergency youth shelters, community housing. So everything got ingrained. but I've learned that in order for people to understand a problem, you have to tell the story.
Mhm.
When we were building Peterborough's first youth emergency shelter, people said, "Why don't these kids just go home?" And I would have to tell them the horror stories about the violence at home, the mental illness maybe their parent is facing, the dysfunction within the family. And so there's lots of examples of how to do that. And now, yeah, so I became a newspaper editor. I was editor of Peterborough This Week for 15 years.
Mhm.
And then I went off and became a fundraiser. And now I work in supporting people with communications as my own business.
Mhm.
So I just love taking an issue and making people understand it
Mhm.
through a narrative as best I can.
Mhm. Sounds like teacher qualities.
My dad wanted to be a teacher. I have low patience for people who don't want to be in school.
Oh, wow.
You know what? I teach things that people to sign up for, but yeah, the idea of working with teenagers who did not want to be at school.
Mm.
Maybe not for me. You're a very good listener. See, I can work with you.
Oh, let's.
Yeah.
Okay, Lois, last question. Is there anything new and exciting going on in Volunteer Peterborough that you can share with the community?
Yeah, so we're pretty excited that we have reached this milestone of like we're up over 1,800 people, and we're looking at doing some really exciting things and taking our model and expanding it to other communities. So I had a meeting in April with we just put it out to all these other communities that don't have volunteer centers and how many of you would be interested in learning about our journey and what we did. 100 of them signed up.
Oh, wow. Mm.
So yeah, so we are right now trying to make sure that what we are doing works really well, and then we want to roll it out to other communities. We are the only hyper-local volunteer database uh, in Canada. There are several national ones, so you can go into certain other groups and type in where you live. But when I
Mhm.
tested them, I was offered a role in Calgary, which is nowhere near me, four
Mhm.
provinces over. So what we are doing is a different approach, and we think it is something that other people can adopt and have great success with.
Amazing. Amazing. That's cool that you build a model that works and you just pass it on and you share.
Yeah, there's a lot of in-person services in other communities and other that do a lot of events, but we are a different model, and they are quite baffled when we show up at meetings and talk about what we do.
Yeah.
But that's okay because you got
Yeah.
to change things up. The fact that we started in 2022 and 2023 is different than people started 40 years ago. And some of
Yeah.
them say that they're jealous because we are in the now.
Yeah. Good. Thanks for sharing. So I do have the Medical Alert Matters question. This is the last thing you're going to answer.
Okay.
So you're going to choose for me to read out my left hand or my right hand.
Ooh, I'm gonna go left.
Right. What's a challenge that tested you in this work and what helped you push through?
Aha. So, one of the biggest challenges that we face are volunteer managers who are so stressed and under the gun that they are like, I can't learn anything new. I can't answer your emails. I can't cope. And they don't want to be seen as failing. So we say to them, here's an opportunity for you to work with us. And they're like, I can't.
Okay.
So it's sad. And they are trying their best and they're wonderful people. So we have struggled to show them a way. And what we've done is with the success stories.
Mhm.
When we drag them out to a volunteer fair and they leave with a list of 60 people. So we gather a lot of testimonials so that people will see it does work. But it has taken some time.
Of course,
That's
everything takes
okay.
time. Everything
We'll
takes
get
time.
there.
Yes. All right. Thanks for sharing. This has been amazing. Thanks you for coming on today. The last thing we're going to do, I want you to let people know where they could find you and share your social medias if you have.
Yeah, so we are nice and simple, volunteerpeterborough.ca, and people can see how our site works, and you can sort around and filter everything. And then we are on Instagram and as Volunteer Peterborough, or on Facebook as Volunteer PTBO.
Mm.
And yeah, we're on LinkedIn as well. So come out and see what we're doing. We have a lot of fun on social media too.
Danielle, welcome to the MedicAlert Matters Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's a great day today.
Yes, thank you for being here. So let's start right from the beginning. I want to know about your organization. Let's start at the heart of what you do and tell me about it because I think there might be a personal story behind its beginnings.
Thank you. I'm the founder of Home Care Workers Cooperative. I'm also the executive director. And Home Care Workers Cooperative is the first nonprofit PSW and women-owned worker co-op in Canada. I started this in 2020, and ultimately the goal really was to create a work environment that was going to empower caregivers, empower workers. These workers who work in the system as PSWs are predominantly women. They are predominantly racialized women, new Canadians, and migrant workers. And we really wanted to make sure we provided a meaningful work environment where we take care of these women and make sure that they have good compensation, they have good benefits, they are being protected by workers' rights and labor rights and all these things that I think we take for granted in many ways. And this really came about because I was a PSW for a long time, and I also was a primary caregiver for my grandmother. And I saw both sides of that spectrum, right? So I saw a lot of lack of care and gaps in care in regards to what our care receivers really need and what they should be getting.
Mhm.
And I saw that even though that there was gaps in care, this really wasn't a worker issue, right? And I think that the workers' hands were tied as well. And I think we felt that kind of moral injury a little bit in regards to how we can really give that good quality care, especially in long-term care homes, when our hands are tied because there's lack of resources and time and money and lack of workers,
Right.
really. So I left long-term care in 2020. I started this business and it's been doing really well. And now our PSWs have really good pay. They have access to benefits and paid sick days. And our clients have a say in the type of care that they receive. It's really a client-centered and client-focused work environment, or sorry, care, but also a very worker-focused and empowering work environment as well.
Thanks for sharing all that. But I have to ask a personal question now. Did you go to school for this? What did you take in school that led you down the path?
I initially went to school for my early childhood education, always worked in the care industry. But I did go back to school for a PSW because I
Okay.
really loved I love working with seniors. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
seeing that with my grandmother, and she had dementia, and I just seemed to have a knack with her. But then I also really loved working with the other residents who were around her, and we would always do things together. And so I decided to go back to school for that as well. Yeah.
Mm. How did you work through that though? Like dementia is a terrible condition. Can you share a little bit more about your experience with your grandmother?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that is really hard with people who are living with dementia is we remember this person as they were before. And I think that we see the struggles, we see the concerns that, the issues that they're going through, some of the safety issues, or even the responsive behaviors that they might be experiencing and the confusion. But I think it's really important for us, and I learned this through my grandmother, is to be able to kind of be in the moment. And once I realized that being in the moment with her
Mm.
allowed her to have joy, allowed her to, and she may not remember that I was there, but she knew that, right? So I think one of the key things that I learned about working with people in with dementia, and I have training in dementia after that as well. But I think it's really about being in the moment, understanding where they're at,
Mhm.
and honestly, don't sweat the small stuff because there's way bigger issues, right? So I know that my family in particular had some concerns because my grandmother was very fancy. She was loved her jewelry, loved her her nice, beautiful blouses, but it got to the point where she wasn't able to really, dress herself in that same way. And so we wanted to make sure she had comfy clothes and easy clothes to be able to dress herself.
Mhm.
And that was a tough one for, I think, some of her family, right? Because that's not how my grandmother was, but she didn't care. And she could still have that dignity. So I think yeah, bringing joy and finding the things that she loved. We used to spend tons of time watching I Love Lucy reruns on her, and
Yes.
she loved it, loved it, loved it. And so we would always do that, and we'd have our snacks. We'd watch I Love Lucy reruns, and that's what brought her joy. So
Okay.
that's what we did, right?
Yeah, amazing. What's your grandmother's name? What was her name?
Thelma.
Thelma. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, she was a pretty awesome lady. Yeah.
yes. Okay, and you have the background in dementia care, but
Yeah.
did you build a relationship with Alzheimer's Society in that area too, in Peterborough area too, and get
Yeah. So we have a relationship with the Alzheimer's Society as well, and many other organizations in Peterborough who service people, not just working with dementia, but
Mhm.
service people who are working with seniors in the community. I think, I mean, that's a really good point. I think building those relationships with other organizations who can kind of help, especially the Alzheimer's Society. They're
Yeah.
amazing at what they do and really knowledgeable. So we send a lot of our clients there to get some of that extra support.
Oh, okay. Thanks for sharing that. Okay,
Hmm.
so it looked like you started in 2020. So before I
Hmm.
ask my question, COVID happened in 2020.
Hmm.
In March, everything shut down. I believe it was March 15th.
Yes.
How has your organization evolved in that short period of time to meet the changing needs of the people in the Peterborough area?
Well, I think there was a lot of businesses who had to shut down because of COVID, and I think mine probably became quite busy very quickly because of COVID.
Right,
So I think the timing was everything. I think people wanted to have that more personalized approach. They were seeing people getting shut down, not being able to have visitors. People were pulling their loved ones out of long-term care and needed supports in the home. So I think a lot of that was really good timing for my business perspective, right? And for
right,
some of the families who we cared for in the very beginning. It's changed. I think it's changed because um, you know, well, I guess we have been able to pivot a lot, and co-ops are a little bit more flexible in regards to being able to kind of adapt to the market or adapt to, our customers' needs and our workers' needs. So, for example, during COVID and during that time, the government would allow 3 paid sick days, for
mhm,
example, right? And they would reimburse us, which was great. But we were also mandated to isolate for 10.
okay,
And what do you do as a worker who you got to pay bills, you got to put food on the table. Another 7 days of no work and no pay is really, really that can be catastrophic for some PSWs, right? Well, for
right,
a lot of people. So we decided to create a COVID relief reserve account. And these are the kind of things that we're able to do as a co-op because you
mhm,
just get together or you chat, you talk, and you go, okay, you know what, this is important. We have to do this. So we were able to do that. So all of our PSWs were able to isolate without worrying about paying the bills. We're able to isolate and keep our clients safe. and doing so. So I think a lot of that was really due to the fact that we answer to each other.
Hmm.
We don't answer to shareholders. This is not necessarily about profit. So that was a huge part in understanding that this is actually working for the workers and for the clients, being able to see that. So I think it's those things. Now, one co-op closed down during COVID
Amazing.
because
Yes.
we do have that flexibility. So I think in regards to us adapting,
Hmm.
we have not had any issues with adapting to any of the pivots in the market or anything like that.
Yeah, great to hear. How many
Mhm.
staff do you have on board though?
We have, oh, let me see here. I think there's about 14 of us now.
Hmm.
And we do service other areas outside of Peterborough. We are predominantly in Peterborough, but we do have some people in the York Simcoe area and as well as in Durham region. So including them, there's 14 or 15 of us.
Okay. Yes.
Mhm.
And is it growing then? Is it growing
It is
steady?
growing. We actually had decided prior to the summer that we're going to create a wait list. And we every once in a while we've had to do that over the last 5 years because it just grows a little bit too quickly. And we want to be able to manage our growth and make sure that that growth is organic and it's still, we're still able to kind of stick to our original vision, right? And I think as soon as we start, really just keep on saying yes regularly to a lot of people, then we lose sight of that.
Hmm.
So we have to make sure that we're really staying focused with that vision of, the type of quality care that we want to be able to give, but also the work environment that we want to be able to give. And we don't want to be able to, we don't want to have to just keep on putting bodies in, right?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that these people are right for our business, but
Mhm.
also right for our clients.
Right.
And in doing it that way, we've been able to retain really, really good PSWs. And that's something we're really proud of because in this business, and in this economy, PSWs are leaving a lot of
Yeah.
workforces, but we are seeing that they're staying with us. So we're doing something right.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Wait, did you grow up in the Peterborough area or did you reside somewhere else for school for a bit or was always in that local area?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Peterborough area for the most part. I was born in BC, but we always spent time up in the Peterborough area. And then I went to London for Ontario for a while, met my husband, and we decided to come back to Peterborough, mostly because I wanted to be closer to my family again and my
Okay.
grandparents and my grandma in particular.
Hmm.
And that we moved here permanently. I went to high school here and stuff as well. So I've been here for quite some time, but we moved here in 2002, I believe. Yeah, permanently. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I met you at an event. I believe it was Activity Haven.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you're table beside us. So
Yeah.
Medical Alert. Now I want to know, you work with care workers and also the clients. How do you think Medical Alert can strengthen the safety of all the individuals?
Yeah, I've been kind of thinking about this too, and because we have clients who are living rurally, which means that they don't really have those neighbors to be close by if there's emergencies, anything like that. And I was thinking even the other day, I went up to visit a client of mine, and he's about 35 minutes away.
Mhm.
And his wife needed to go in to see her granddaughter graduate. And so we went up to visit, but then she was running late and I had to go and go to another client. So in those moments, I was kind of like, what do you do in a situation where, and he was okay. So I
Okay.
didn't leave him. He was okay. But there's always those, what if there's a fall or what, something like that. So I think just having something like that available for people who are living rurally, I think would be a huge help. And we do have a lot of rural clients. But at the end of the day, I think something like this is going to help, does help our clients who want to stay in their home. I mean, that's it, right? Like you want to be able to have people who can stay in their home. There's some risks, especially if there's fall risks or anything like that. And we want to make sure that there's going to be emergency services and supports that can be there and get to them quickly. But this is also a peace of mind with families because what we're finding is a lot of families want to honor those wishes of their loved ones, of their mom and dad or grandparents. But they're worried about the emergency part of it or the risks. So this really alleviates a lot of those risks in my mind. And we've already tried to talk to many of our clients about that. And we do know we have some clients who do use your services already. So we know it's a huge benefit.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
like we love to collaborate with different organizations. Because one thing that you mentioned there, which is very important, because if you have the MedicAlert ID on and you're home alone, if you're
Mhm.
unconscious or you're having trouble speaking, you're in distress,
Mhm.
and the paramedics come and they turn over the ID, they can see exactly your
Yeah,
conditions or medications or anything you need at that moment in time, which
yeah.
is life-saving. Seconds count. Very important.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. For sure. Yeah. And we have a lot of clients who have dementia, and they wouldn't necessarily be able to say those things.
Exactly.
So not that they would really be left alone, but you don't know. And sometimes I even think about partners and a lot of these caregivers who, I mean, what if something happened to them? And, so there's so many different things. So I think just having that a little extra bit of information is super helpful.
Oh, yes, of course.
Mhm.
Okay. Can you share anything new or upcoming in your organization that you can share with the community, people listening?
Wow. Well, I think the only thing I can think of that I guess I would like to share is that we are always trying to find ways to collaborate with other organizations in the community. Being part of Age Friendly,
Yeah.
speaks to that a lot. It's a great organization. And we are working on, in collaboration with other community partners, a type of wellness hub, so a PACE model wellness hub that we're just in very recent discussions and early discussions with different community partners. But um, I think what this speaks to is that all organizations who are working with seniors are realizing that there's still gaps in the system.
Oh, yes.
Peterborough is amazing when it comes to finding ways to kind of, fit into those gaps, finding ways to fill those gaps with each other and working with each other. So, yeah, I think just the idea that we can collaborate and work together to serve our seniors and serve our community, I think is really important.
Amazing. Thank you. Um, this has been great, great information. And I have one more question for you.
Yeah,
It's the MedicAlert Matters question.
sure.
So I have two cards, and you're going to tell me which one you want me to read out, my left hand or my right hand.
Okay. You're right.
Right. All right. What's a challenging, oh, what's a challenge that tested you in this work, and what helped you push through?
Well, I think one of the challenges and this was quite some time ago prior to my business, but I think the challenge that really tested me in this work was working in long-term care.
Mm,
You love the clients. I loved all of the residents, and the staff, but it was a really hard, systemic, uh, issue to be able to kind of work through, right? So that was a big challenge for me. And the next part of that was what has worked well. Was that the next part?
How did you push through?
Yeah, I mean, I think I pushed through by, you try to fight through it in the system that you're in, and realizing who's really important and who really matters in these issues, and that's our care receivers and our care workers, right?
Right.
So I think pushing through that and realizing that there's got to be something better and hearing those voices. So creating this business and having that faith and that belief that this is going to work. This was a new model. No one's really done this before. So that in itself was a bit of a challenge. But I think the reception that I got from the community, from all over Canada, really, in regards to this model, speaks to how important it is, how important home care is, to their families and to them, and not wanting to go into institutions. So we've been having a lot of support. So I think you just push through and stick to what feels good for you and stick to your passion. And that
Oh,
helps for sure.
yes. I like that answer. Now
Thank you.
before we go, I
Yeah.
got a personal question now because it's I like to hear from people who start their own businesses, entrepreneurs and things like that.
Mhm.
There's a learning curve to everything. So you have background, education and things like that, family experiences, your grandmother. At any point, were you worried when you started this business, or did you know you had to reach out to certain people that were available to you for that guidance?
Oh gosh, I'm still worried sometimes, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like it's not that I'm worried about my ability. It's more now that I have PSWs who rely on me, or the business decisions, their livelihood. I think that that's something I never really expected would impact me so much.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't look at spreadsheets. I had no idea
Yeah.
to look about these things or financials or any of that kind of stuff. I was really, really lucky. I reached out to the Ontario Cooperative Association and the Canadian Workers Cooperative Federation, and I received a lot of support through them. So that's kind of how I felt I knew I was able to kind of do this, because I think, and this is why I did a co-op too, right? Because your success can't be just really all about you. There's always other people involved.
Right.
And I think it's important to reach out and kind of take hold of other people's skill sets as well, including those of our PSWs who have stepped up and been able to contribute to the business part of things as well, right? So all of us, we weren't really aware that these are skills that we have, or our past career never gave us the opportunity to really highlight those skills that we have.
Yeah.
So reaching out to others who have those skill sets, I think, is really, really important. We can't know everything. We don't know everything.
Yeah.
So finances is, I understand it. It's important for me to understand it and do that, but that's not my area. So we hire experts to be able to handle that properly.
Mhm.
And the same with, lots of other areas, right? So we just know, and it's the same with even the PSW skill sets. We have some who are just amazing and have lots of training in palliative care or dementia care. So just being able to grab a hold of everyone's skill sets is really helpful, and allows me to not be as scared.
Yeah.
As scared. And we had a business consultant. I was able to get a grant through the Canadian Worker Cooperative Federation.
Okay.
And that allowed me to have a business consultant who helped me with the feasibility studies and the business plans and understanding the financials. We're still good friends to this day, so it was a great opportunity for me to learn a lot from him.
Hmm.
And I have an amazing network of people in the cooperative world who I could call up anytime and say, "Can you take a look at this? I don't quite understand." And I'm so grateful for that, because
Hmm.
I think that allows us to be able to continue to thrive. And we thrive because we have that community.
Yes. Were you extroverted growing up, introverted? Because the reason I'm asking this,
Yeah.
I like the information you just shared, and it seems like you're not afraid to ask questions because you need answers to things. And sometimes you hear that term, you don't know if you don't ask and things like that, right? There's no
Mhm.
dumb question and things. So tell me about you growing up, though. Introvert or extrovert?
Oh, extrovert, still an extrovert.
Oh,
My
yeah.
husband, my husband, I'm sure is downstairs listening, going, "Oh God, she's too much of an extrovert." Yeah. So and I think that this is why this kind of stuff works really well for me. That's my
Mhm.
skill set. I'm comfortable working with people. I'm comfortable asking questions. I'm comfortable kind of taking those risks and jumping into something.
Oh,
But then when you have other people who are like, well, you might want to hold on a little bit,
yeah.
or, so yeah, no, extrovert. When I did drama and
Oh,
singing
you
and
did?
dancing, and oh gosh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I remember my family, my family would always I would always want to put on shows for them. And, so I don't think that introvert it would certainly not be a word that would be described, used to
Okay.
describe me at all.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
wait,
for sure. But it helps, right? Like, yeah, when you're comfortable and comfortable to be able to just go and speak with people and chat and yeah.
right. And one more question around that too
Yeah,
is
for sure.
oh, it was on the top of my tongue. Oh, podcast. Is this your first podcast? Or you've
No,
done?
no, I've been interviewed by a few other podcasts. One was a news one in, I think it was called It Takes a Village, and it was in Barrie. And this
Okay.
was about the startup of the co-op. The other one it's a cooperative podcast that was in that's in BC.
Mhm.
But no, I like it. I think it's just a nice, natural way to be able to have conversations. And I listen to podcasts a lot
All the
too.
time.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
And my thoughts and prayers were going to the people in the Peterborough area. Is everything okay with you now after that storm? It's July now. I believe it happened. I don't know, March. Can't
Yeah,
remember,
yeah,
but
no, I mean, I think everyone's doing well now, but I mean, I mean, I think that also speaks to our community,
mhm.
right? So I know that we had a lot of community organizations. I went around myself and checked on clients and just to make sure because their service and their power was out. And I know other organizations did the same thing. And I think that just really speaks to the type of community that we have,
Yeah.
the caring community we have, and we take care of our neighbors. We take care of our seniors and those folks who might need that little extra help. So everyone I think is doing really good now. They're
Okay.
back. People's got their trees are taken away, and yeah, we're doing good.
Perfect. All right. Danielle, this has been great. Let the people know where they could find you, plug your socials, your website before we take off.
Okay, so Danielle Turpin at homecareworkers.coop. That's homecareworkers.coop, or you can call 705-536-6812.
Right. Thank you, Danielle. This has been great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
You take care too, Peter.
Mhm.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the MedicAlert Matters podcast. And a big thank you to all my guests for sharing their insights. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And don't forget to subscribe to the MedicAlert Matters podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube so you never miss an episode. Until then, stay informed and stay safe.
Did you find her?
Yes, we did.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Medical alert emergency. How may I help you?